Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Nishit Kumar with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Amrit Mahotsav and flag off Padyatra from Sabarmati Ashram, Ahmedabad tomorrow to mark 75 years of India's independence. Prime Minister says Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan will create wealth and value for whole of humanity. Over 2,56,90,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines administered in the country so far. In Assam and West Bengal, tomorrow is the last date for withdrawal of candidature for first phase of assembly elections. President Ramnath Kovind says education is the catalyst for change and the youth is the most potent agent of social transformation. First Quad Leaders Summit to be held virtually tomorrow. Prime Ministers of India, Australia, Japan and US President to participate in the summit. Mahashivratri being celebrated with religious gaiety and fervour across the country. In cricket, India to clash with England in first 2020 match in Ahmedabad tomorrow. And Mumbai to take on Uttar Pradesh in final of Vijay Hazare Trophy One-Day Championship in Delhi on Sunday. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate Amrit Mahotsav and flag off Padyatra from Sabarmati Ashram, Ahmedabad in Gujarat tomorrow to mark 75 years of India's independence. The Mahotsav is a series of events to be organized by the government to commemorate the 75th anniversary of India's independence. It will be celebrated as a Jan Utsav in the spirit of Jan Bhagidari. The curtain raiser activities are beginning from tomorrow, 75 weeks prior to the 15th of August 2022. More from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will flag off reenact of historic Dandi March, which will join by 81 Gandhian followers. They complete the 386-kilometer long march in 21 days on its original route from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi in South Gujarat. Patriotic songs, plays and dance performances will be organized during the Dandi March to highlight the socio-economic changes taking place in the field of cleanliness, environment, security and water conservation in India. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Culture and Tourism Minister Prahlad Singh Patel will lead the Padyatra from Sabarmati Ashram, Ahmedabad tomorrow on the beginning of glorious Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
कल 12 मार्च को साबरमती से आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री आजादी के 75वें वर्ष के अमृत महोत्सव का शंखनाद करेंगे। गुजरात राज्य के 81 नौजवान इस यात्रा को पूरा करेंगे और दूसरा ग्रुप एक और 81 लोगों का होगा जिसमें लगभग 11 राज्य के लोग हैं, जिसमें मैं भी शामिल हूं। वो 75 किलोमीटर की यात्रा करेगा जो साबरमती से नाडियाड तक की होगी। देश के 75 प्रमुख स्थानों पर सभी राज्यों में ये कार्यक्रम आयोजित किए जा रहे हैं। गुजरात और मध्य प्रदेश ऐसे राज्य हैं जिनने अपने राज्य में भी 75 कार्यक्रम रखे हुए हैं। दिल्ली में भी आर्कियोलॉजिकल सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया का जो मॉन्यूमेंट है राय पिथौरा किला, वहां पर लोकसभा अध्यक्ष और हमारे तमाम वरिष्ठ मंत्री उस कार्यक्रम में शामिल होंगे।
It was on the 12th of March 1930 that Gandhiji began the Dandi March from Sabarmati Ashram against the salt laws along with 81 Padyatris. During the Padyatra, the Culture Minister will stay overnight with the Padyatris at the place of night halt and the Padyatra will start from the same place the next day.
Prime Minister Modi will also launch various other cultural and digital initiatives for the India at 75 celebrations and will also address the gathering at Sabarmati Ashram. A National Implementation Committee headed by the Home Minister has been constituted to chalk out policies and planning of various events to be undertaken under the commemoration. State and Union Territories governments are also organizing programs all over India from tomorrow. In addition to these programs, the Archaeological Survey of India and zonal cultural centres under the Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Youth Affairs and TriFed have planned various activities to mark the occasion. Maharashtra government has organized various programs related to Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav tomorrow. Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray will flag off the Freedom Heritage Walk from August Kranti Mark in Mumbai. August Kranti Maidan in Mumbai. Freedom fighters will also be felicitated in the program. In the countdown to the 75th anniversary of India's freedom, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is organized in the historically significant Viduraswatha, Kittur and Shivapura in Karnataka. Viduraswatha is known as Jallianwala Bagh of Karnataka, where in 1938 police opened fire on the unsuspecting crowd that had gathered in an open ground near the Ashwatha tree, thereby killing 32 persons and injuring many. Karnataka Governor Vajubhai Vala, Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa and Cabinet Ministers will participate in the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav being organized in Viduraswatha in Chikkaballapur district. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan will create wealth and value for the whole humanity. He says this initiative is good for the world. The Prime Minister was speaking at the launch of Kindle version of Swami Chidbhavanandaji Bhagavad Gita today.
Today, the 1.3 billion people of India have decided their course of action. They are going to make India Atmanirbhar or self-reliant. In the long term, only a self-reliant India is in everyone's interest. At the core of Atmanirbhar Bharat is to create wealth and values not only for ourselves but for the larger humanity. We believe that an Atmanirbhar Bharat is good for the world.
Mr. Modi said the world is fighting a tough battle against a global pandemic, and when the world needed medicines, India did whatever it can do.
The world is fighting a tough battle against a once-in-lifetime global pandemic. The economic and social impacts are also far-reaching. In such a time, the path shown in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita becomes ever relevant. It could provide strength and direction to once again emerge victorious from the challenges humanity faces. In India, we saw many instances of this. Our people-powered fight against COVID-19, the outstanding spirit of the people, the courage of our citizens. One can say that behind this are glimpses of what Gita highlights.
Appreciating the outstanding spirit and courage shown by the people of the country during COVID-19 pandemic, the Prime Minister said our scientists worked in speedy manner and came out with indigenous vaccine. Highlighting the importance of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in life, Mr. Modi said it makes us think, inspires us to question and keeps our mind open.
Never forget the famous verse, Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. It will free our mind from fear of failure and put our focus on our action. The chapter on Jnana Yoga deals with the importance of true knowledge. Bhakti Yoga, teaching us the importance of devotion, is touched upon in one of the chapters. Every chapter has something to offer to cultivate a positive frame of mind.
The Prime Minister said e-books are becoming very popular, especially among the youth. Therefore, this effort will connect more youngsters with the noble thoughts of Gita. He urged the young people to adopt the teachings of Bhagavad Gita as it is practicable and relatable. Mr. Modi said this e-book will also deepen the connect between the eternal Gita and glorious Tamil culture, as the vibrant Tamil diaspora will be able to read it easily.
The cumulative number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country has crossed 2,56,90,000. Briefing reporters in New Delhi today, Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan said 71% of these doses have been administered at public health facilities and around 29% doses at private centres. He said more than 67,86,000 people above 60 years and people aged 45 to 60 years with specific comorbidities were vaccinated till date. Mr. Bhushan said the rise in active cases is taking place after touching the lowest mark in mid-February. He said in the last 1 month, Kerala, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal have shown a decline, while Maharashtra, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Haryana are showing a rise in the number of active cases.
What this graph does not tell you is that on 18th of September 2020, the country had more than 10 lakh active cases. So from 10 lakh, we came down to 2,54,000 1st of January. Then we further came down to 1,35,000. And now there is this increase which has taken the active cases to 1,89,000.
The Health Secretary said in the first 53 days from the 16th of January this year, India has administered 2,56,90,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine.
We are giving you figures from our world in data of the first 53 days performance of all countries. So US had administered 3,68 lakh vaccine doses in the first 53 days. India in the first 53 days, 2,56 lakh. Brazil, 1,13 lakh. Brazil is important because they started a day after we did. UK, they started their vaccination on 8th of December. And their figure in first 53 days was 94 lakhs.
Meanwhile, the country's COVID-19 recovery rate has reached 96.92%. A total of 22,854 new cases have been reported in the country in the past 24 hours, taking the cumulative positive cases to over 1,12,85,000. The Maharashtra Public Service Commission has postponed the prelim examination earlier scheduled on the 14th of March 2021. As per the statement, the Commission has said the revised dates will be announced soon. The state government wrote a letter to the Commission yesterday and stated that corona cases are rising in the state. To contain this disease, various district administrations have imposed certain restrictions. In view of such a situation, it would be inappropriate to hold an examination, so the exams may be postponed. Many candidates who are preparing for these exams are protesting against the decision in Pune. State Disaster Management Minister Vijay Wadetiwar has assured that he will speak to the CM and Deputy CM and will request to find some solution to the issue. The News Services Division of All India Radio and its bilingual live phone-in program tonight will bring you a special discussion on COVID-19. Dr. Rajendra K. Dhamija, neurologist, Lady Harding Medical College, will participate in the discussion. This can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. Listeners can ask questions to the expert on toll-free telephone number 1-800-115767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444 and post queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. This program will also be available on our website, newsonair.com, and on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You can also follow us on the News on AIR app for updates.
In the poll-bound states of Assam and West Bengal, tomorrow will be the last date for withdrawal of candidature for the first phase of state assembly elections. In case of second phase, tomorrow will be the closing day for filing of nominations. In addition, the process of filing of nominations will begin with the issuance of notification for the third phase of assembly elections in these two states, and also for the single-phase elections in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, as well as the Union Territory of Puducherry tomorrow. In Assam, 47 assembly constituencies will go to polls on the 27th of March during the first phase, while polling will be held in 30 assembly constituencies of West Bengal in this phase. The second phase of polling in these two states will be conducted on the 1st of April in 39 assembly constituencies of Assam and 30 assembly constituencies of West Bengal. Meanwhile, in Assam, several senior leaders have filed nomination papers for the second phase of polls. Tomorrow is the last day of filing of nominations in this phase, where polling will be held on the 1st of April in 39 seats. Senior BJP leaders and Prime Minister and Ministers Parimal Suklabaidya and Bhavesh Kalita filed nominations at Dholai and Rangia respectively. Congress leaders Kamalakya De Purkayastha, Shantanu Sarma and AIUDF candidates Fani Talukdar, Mujibur Rahman too submitted nomination papers. More from our Guwahati correspondent.
Nomination of 284 candidates have been found valid in the first phase after the rejection of n number of nominations. Tomorrow is the last day of withdrawal of nomination for the first phase of polls. Meanwhile, the election campaigning is gradually gaining momentum in the state. Apart from the various senior leaders, the political parties are also roping in actors and singers. Actor Ravi Kishan and singer Manoj Tiwari will campaign for the BJP candidates in Assam. The Congress and other parties would also engage senators to the voters. Most of the parties have already engaged the local actors, singers, musicians of Assam in campaigning with catchy music. Manas Pratim Sharma, AIR News, Guwahati.
Third phase polling in Assam and West Bengal will be held on the 6th of April when 40 assembly constituencies of Assam and 31 assembly constituencies of West Bengal will go to polls. The single phase polling in Kerala, Tamil Nadu along with the Union Territory of Puducherry will also be held on the same day. All the 140 assembly constituencies of Kerala and 234 assembly constituencies in Tamil Nadu along with 30 assembly constituencies in Puducherry will go to polls together.
In Tamil Nadu, nominations will begin tomorrow for the single-phase assembly elections. The parties are in the process of finalizing contestants and constituencies of their allies in the front. The AIADMK has BJP, PMK, TMC and smaller parties. TMC, led by G.K. Vasan, has been allotted 6 seats just a short while ago. National parties BJP and Congress have to prove their strength in the Kanyakumari Lok Sabha by-election. BJP and Congress are pitched against each other in 5 constituencies. On the whole, BJP has to contest in 20 and Congress in 25 seats. In this case, both will face off at 5 assembly constituencies. The challenge is that 3 constituencies are in Kanyakumari, where the Lok Sabha by-election will be held. More from our Chennai correspondent.
The Amma Makkal Munnetra Kazhagam, led by TTV Dinakaran, the nephew of V.K. Sasikala, will face the elections with AIMIM party led by Owaisi and also SDPI. Both parties are popular among the Muslim communities and are contesting in Muslim-dominated areas of the state. This breakaway party from the AIADMK is also sure of getting dissatisfied party members into its fold. It is quite new to the party that those who are not satisfied with the selection of candidates have expressed their sentiments strongly at the AIADMK headquarters. The DMDK party, led by actor-politician Vijay Kant, has not publicly announced its decision till now. TTV Dinakaran did agree that his party was in talks with the DMDK today. In the present state of affairs, it is time for DMDK to decide on how it will face the elections. Joy, AIR News, Chennai.
The preparations for the General Assembly polls are in the final lap in Kerala as all the major fronts are finalizing the list of candidates. More from our correspondent.
Union Minister Prahlad Joshi said in Thrissur today that the list of BJP candidates will be announced within 2 days. The ruling LDF had already announced candidates in 132 seats. They had entered the campaigning phase along with the beginning of constituency conventions. In UDF, the KPCC President Mullapalli Ramachandran said that the list of Congress candidates will be announced tomorrow. The official notification for the upcoming polls and nomination filing will begin in Kerala from tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Central Election Commission decides to postpone the 10th and 12th state board exams in the state. The exam is rescheduled to start from April 8 after the polling ends on April 6th. Mayusha for AR News from Kozhikode.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Amrit Mahotsav and flag off Padayatra from Sabarmati Ashram, Ahmedabad tomorrow to mark 75 years of India's independence. Prime Minister says Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan will create wealth and value for whole of humanity. Over 2,56,90,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines administered in the country so far. In Assam and West Bengal, tomorrow is the last date for withdrawal of candidature for the first phase of assembly elections. President Ramnath Kovind says education is the catalyst for change and the youth is the most potent agent of social transformation. First Quad Leaders Summit to be held virtually tomorrow. Prime Ministers of India, Australia, Japan and US President to participate in the summit. Mahashivratri being celebrated with religious gaiety and fervour across the country. In cricket, India to clash with England in the first 2020 match in Ahmedabad tomorrow. And Mumbai to take on Uttar Pradesh in the final of Vijay Hazare Trophy One-Day Championship in Delhi on Sunday. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
Welcome back to the evening news. President Ramnath Kovind has said that education is the catalyst for change and the youth is the most potent agent of social transformation. He asserted that the new Education Policy 2020 seeks to implement a modern education system based on research, skill and acumen relevant to the evolving needs of the present generation. The President was addressing the 41st annual convocation of the Anna University at Chennai in Tamil Nadu. Mr. Kovind said the policy focuses on promoting understanding of Indian culture and inculcating moral values.
The new policy seeks to implement a modern education system based on research, skill and acumen relevant to the evolving needs of the present. At the same time, it would also include within its domain our rich cultural heritage in consonance with the futuristic outlook. The policy focuses on inculcating moral values and promoting understanding of Indian culture. I am confident that the implementation of this policy would usher in an era of modern learning and education.
The President began his speech in the Tamil language and praised it for being accorded the status of classical language. He recalled remarkable personalities like former President Abdul Kalam and Dr. Verghese Kurian, the force behind the White Revolution, who were alumni of the Anna University. The President was on a 3-day visit to Tamil Nadu. The first Quad Leaders Summit will be held virtually tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of Australia Scott Morrison, Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga and US President Joseph R. Biden will participate in the first Leaders Summit of the Quadrilateral Framework. More from our correspondent.
The leaders will discuss regional and global issues of shared interest and exchange views on practical areas of cooperation towards maintaining a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific region. The summit will provide an opportunity to exchange views on contemporary challenges such as resilient supply chains, emerging and critical technologies, maritime security and climate change. The leaders will also discuss ongoing efforts to combat COVID-19 pandemic and explore opportunities for collaboration in ensuring safe, equitable and affordable vaccines in the Indo-Pacific region. With Sobhagyakar, Anupam Mishra, AR News, Delhi.
The Election Commission today said it will take stern action against fake news. In a statement, the Commission said it has come to its notice that an old fake news about EVM hacking is being circulated on some social media platforms and internet. It said the fake news item of 21st December 2017 maliciously attributed that former Chief Election Commissioner T.S. Krishnamurthy had opined that a particular party won assembly elections by hacking EVMs. This wrongful information was previously debunked by the former Chief Election Commissioner himself soon after this matter had come to his knowledge in 2018. The Commission said this news is again being circulated by some miscreants on the social media. Refuting the fake news, Mr. Krishnamurthy has again issued a statement and said it has been brought to his notice that a fake news which had appeared in a Hindi newspaper quite some time back is being activated and recirculated as if he expressed doubts about the credibility of the electronic voting machines, EVM, in the conduct of elections in India. Mr. Krishnamurthy said this is utterly false and mischievous to circulate a wrong impression in the ensuing elections. He reiterated that EVMs are most credible and he has no doubt about its efficacy and reliability. Digital News Publishers Association has welcomed the Information Technology Guidelines for Intermediaries and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules of 2021. In a follow-up meeting held today with Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar, the association members expressed satisfaction over the Digital Media Ethics Code notified by the government on the 25th of last month. Mr. Javadekar informed that few suggestions offered by the Digital News Publishers Association members during the meet have been duly noted. 17 states have operationalized One Nation, One Ration Card system. Uttarakhand is the latest state to complete the reform. States completing One Nation, One Ration Card system reform are eligible for additional borrowing of 0.25% of the gross state domestic product. Accordingly, the centre has granted additional borrowing permission of 37,600 crore rupees to these states. One Nation, One Ration Card system ensures availability of ration to beneficiaries under the National Food Security Act and other welfare schemes at any fair price shop across the country.
The festival of Mahashivratri is being celebrated across the country with full religious fervour and gaiety. On the occasion, devotees worship Lord Shiva, the destroyer of evil. The devotees also visit Shiva temples to pay their obeisance to seek the Lord's blessings.
Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Har Har Bhole Namah Shivaya.
It is believed that worship of Lord Shiva on Shivratri absolves a devotee of past sins. The worship is said to liberate a soul from the cycle of birth and death and helps attain moksha or salvation. In Uttar Pradesh, lakhs of devotees took a holy dip in rivers and worshipped Lord Shiva in temples across the state on the auspicious occasion. In Uttarakhand, thousands of devotees from different parts of the country thronged to Haridwar to take a holy dip in Ganga River in early hours of the day. The first Shahi Snan at Mahakumbh in Haridwar also took place on Mahashivratri. Ganga River, the most revered river, has a very close connection with Lord Shiva, and there are innumerable mythological stories surrounding it. The Mahakumbh at Haridwar is happening after 12 years. COVID-19 protocol is also being observed. In Jammu and Kashmir, festival of Shivratri Herath is being celebrated across the Union Territory. It is a 3-day festival which began yesterday. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended greetings to all countrymen on the auspicious occasion.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed anguish on the passing away of Chief of Brahma Kumari's Raj Yogini Dadi Hriday Mohini. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said Raj Yogini Dadi Hriday Mohini ji will be remembered for her numerous efforts to alleviate human sufferings and further societal empowerment. The Prime Minister said she played a pivotal role in spreading the positive message of Brahma Kumari's family globally. And now the news from the world of sports.
In cricket, the first match of the 5-match 2020 series between India and England will be played in Ahmedabad tomorrow. The match will begin at 7 p.m. Indian team has already clinched the Test Series 3-1 and is gearing up to clinch the T20 series also. All India Radio will broadcast live commentary of the match from 6:30 p.m. onwards. This can be heard on FM Rainbow and additional frequencies. Mumbai will take on Uttar Pradesh in the final of Vijay Hazare Trophy One-Day Championship in Delhi on Sunday. In the first semi-final match today, Uttar Pradesh defeated Gujarat by 5 wickets with 44 balls remaining. Chasing a victory target of 185 runs set by Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh comfortably made 188 runs for 5 wickets in 42.4 overs. For Uttar Pradesh, Akshdeep Nath was the highest scorer with 71 runs. Gujarat had won the toss and elected to bat first. In the second semi-final of the championship today, Mumbai beat Karnataka by 72 runs. Chasing a victory target of 323 runs set by Mumbai, Karnataka were all out at only 250 in 42.4 overs. Mumbai captain Prithvi Shaw laid the platform with a brilliant 165 of 122 balls. VC Pramod, Sports Desk, AIR News.
Now, let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is likely to have thunderstorm with hail. The temperature will hover between 17 and 34 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be 23 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 35 degrees. Chennai is expected to have partly cloudy sky. Temperature will vary between 25 and 35 degrees Celsius. Kolkata is expected to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder lightning. Srinagar will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Temperature will hover between 5 and 10 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Minimum temperature will be 17 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 26 degrees. Leh is expected to have light snowfall. Minimum temperature will be around -6 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 6 degrees. Gilgit will have rain and snowfall. Temperature will hover between 6 and 17 degrees Celsius.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Amrit Mahotsav and flag off Padyatra from Sabarmati Ashram, Ahmedabad tomorrow to mark 75 years of India's independence. Prime Minister says Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan will create wealth and value for whole of humanity. Over 2,56,90,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines administered in the country so far. In Assam and West Bengal, tomorrow is the last date for withdrawal of candidature for first phase of assembly elections. President Ramnath Kovind says education is the catalyst for change and the youth is the most potent agent of social transformation. First Quad Leaders Summit to be held virtually tomorrow. Prime Ministers of India, Australia, Japan and US President to participate in the summit. Mahashivratri being celebrated with religious gaiety and fervour across the country. In cricket, India to clash with England in first 2020 match in Ahmedabad tomorrow, and Mumbai to take on UP in final of Vijay Hazare Trophy One-Day Championship in Delhi on Sunday. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.